Well, look at what we've got going on here. I'm all amped up. It's a Saturday afternoon, and look at this. It's the very first ever women's roundtable. This is starting to pop with Kincaid and my very special guests. We have the suplex sweetheart Isana. We have Karen BamBam. Oh my goodness, I can't believe what's going on here. We have Big Juicy. We have Joanna. Oh, we lost. I'm sure she'll come back. I'm sure she'll come back. We have Big Juicy, and we have Davienne. America's Not Sweetheart. Is that correct? America's not
America's Sweetheart.
Not America.
Okay.
I mess stuff up all the time. Welcome back, BamBam. She's kind of here.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
She's kind of here.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
Today
it's Sunday.
Okay,
It's Sunday.
It's Saturday, and I got really confused. I'm like, oh no.
I got excited for a second. I was like, oh yes, it's Saturday. I still have more weekend.
I was like, wait, what's happening?
I have to apologize. I've been losing my days through everything going on. I barely have a clue my name, never mind what day. So I did say Saturday. My bad. I am not that bright.
I just wanted to double check what day for my own mental health.
Right.
Well, I have Big Juicy on. She's a reg on the fan roundtable, and we just kind of fans outside of the ring I've made connections with. We kind of hang out. We talk wrestling. We talk some of our favorite promotions. We talk some of our favorite talent. I've also had Ms. Joanna Robinson on, but then on the other side of that, I've separately interviewed Big Juicy, Joanna Robinson, Karen BamBam, and Isana. I've yet to interview Davienne. So this is an absolute specialty right here because we have all of you together in one thing, and this is going to be so much fun. First off, I can't thank you, all of you, enough for coming in, spending a little time with my silliness, talking a little wrestling, talking, whatever we want to talk about. But I kind of want to focus on all of you ladies specifically and individually, so the fans that do know you can get a little bit more deep into who you are and such. And not only that, but the fans that don't know you, we get them to jump on board, and we get more fans to check out Davienne and company. So that's what this is really all about. So again, I thank you, and I know I'm rambling, but look at who the frick I've got, man. I mean, come on. So what I'd like to do, so it's not totally chaotic, is I want to start with Big Juicy because she was a big help on getting all of you ladies together. So Big Juicy, I want big props to Big Juicy for getting all the ladies together and doing this little soiree.
No problem.
Woo!
Now, when I put it out onto the fan roundtable and I said, hey, Big Juicy, Joanna, what do you think about getting some of the ladies together? They were like, hell yeah, let's do this. Big Juicy, now, you've only been into some of the locker rooms with only maybe one other lady in the back room. How is it when we get a nice little round table like this with some of your friends and such?
I mean, I think it's cool that we can, I haven't been on shows or worked with like Isana or Karen, but we all can reach out to each other, and I mean, that's the cool thing about social media. Like, I reached out to BamBam, don't really know where we have each other on social media. I was like, hey, we're doing this thing with a bunch of ladies. You want to hop on? And she was like, yeah. And then I've talked to Isana a couple times here and there, and still building a relationship with Davey. And it's awesome that we can all just come together, reach out whenever we need each other. So it's pretty cool.
Now I'd like to go to Davienne because I haven't really spoke to her. We've seen each other a couple times at the shows and stuff, but we never sat down or even chit-chatted much because you're kind of angry when you're at the shows, and I'm a little
it's resting
guy.
Bitch face, I assure you.
I mean, anger is like my baseline, so it doesn't really change much.
And you ladies, if you don't know, I'm a little guy, and I don't like to really mix it up with, I try to stay away from the danger portions of the program. So, Davienne, I've seen you in PvP, WMW. You've put on some fantastic performances. Could you talk to us, the fans? Where else have Davienne been around that we don't know about or haven't heard of, maybe?
So I would say the main places that I wrestle are Chaotic Wrestling, Beyond Wrestling / Women's Wrestling Revolution, WSU, Women's Superstar. Oh, they changed the name again. Uncensored United. I don't know what it is.
United. It's United for now.
I don't know.
They
DJ changed the name again.
Again? Dang.
Again. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? WSU. I'm trying to think where else. Shimmer.
Yeah.
CTE. Sorry, guys.
So many places.
My main places, but I'm mostly in New England. I've started to travel more recently. I started working for Femme Fatales pretty regularly in Canada. Unfortunately, my last date with them was canceled because of coronavirus. Super exciting. It was going to be like an intergender tag tournament, so it was going to be like really fun. But they canceled. Fingers crossed, making my West Coast debut in November. If that happens, fingers crossed. You know, like I'm sure all of us are feeling the pain of empty calendar. So,
well, you've named some fantastic promotions. Holy cow! Davienne is spreading her wings wide, if you will.
I'm trying.
Now,
out here, yeah.
Karen BamBam, do you know everybody? Obviously, you know, you haven't met Big Juicy, but do you know everybody else on the panel or no?
I've only met Davienne and Joanna, but I'm familiar with everybody. Hi.
Hey. No.
Now, I have to sport the new Bishop, Squish a Bishop fresh shirt.
You made it look.
I love this shirt. I love the graphic, the colors. It pops, you know, it's got that nice little pop to it. I can't keep up with everybody's merch. You know, I only have so much money, but little by little, the fans, we love buying the merch and getting that new merch, and I have to get everybody's merch. So bear with me as I pick and, you know, and get that stuff going.
Appreciated.
Now, is this your first shirt, Karen BamBam?
It actually is. I'm so indecisive, and it's like I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And the funny thing about that is that's actually like an animation from one of my matches with Vicky that was just cartoon. Like I saw that and I was like, I want that on the shirt. And he took it and just like did it. Max Picari, pop in. Very professional, just in case anybody else is looking for t-shirts.
Good.
Wow. I can't believe I got the first ever BamBam shirt. This is awesome. Now, Isana, I've seen you live many times, as well as the other ladies, but I've seen you live many a time, but up in the Rhode Island area. Are you familiar with the ladies that are on the panel?
I'm familiar with everyone except Joanna. I don't think I've met you yet.
I was about to say we have not been introduced.
Oh, hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I've never been properly introduced to Karen, but I have definitely heard of Karen, and I've definitely been beat up by Davey multiple times. So my best matches ever. I love it. Still one of my best matches was our first match at Lucky Pro. So, and then I really can't wait to tangle with Big Juicy. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna happen as soon as this coronavirus stuff ends. I'm gonna start pushing for it. So,
yeah.
Those are the kind of things that the fans want to hear because we're so damn easy. You know that as much as I do. It only takes a little bit to get us excited, and I get a little overexcited. I apologize. I would love to see that matchup. Holy cow! Now, Joanna, you're not you don't get mixed up athletically, but you're in ring. You do the national anthem. You do ring announcing. You do interviews. Mm-hmm. You do the back behind the scenes stuff as like the Wrestle Mom. I mean, Joanna, Miss Robinson, you wear many a hat in wrestling. You're at the front door collecting money. You're at the merch table selling merch for the peeps.
I'm exhausted hearing you say all my titles. Oh my God.
Wow.
Can I say
so
that?
Obviously
I want to say that one of my favorite memories is the first time that I met Davienne. Because we were at it was a Blitzkrieg show, and I was announcing, and I don't know why I couldn't say your name right, and you were like, no, say it wrong. That's even better. And, like, I went out and said your name wrong, and everybody got so mad at me. But that's how I knew how awesome you were. You were like, yeah, let's just say it wrong. Whatever.
Just run with it.
Just run with it. It's probably still my favorite memory.
Now, Big Juicy, I've seen you in a ring in a triple threat, if I'm not mistaken. At I get them confused, WMW and PvP, because there's some of the same talent, but mixed up different talent. So, forgive me.
I think it was WMW.
WMW?
I don't
now,
know the difference either, so.
Yeah. We just show up.
You just show up.
It's just like, hey guys.
You're here? Good. Like,
I just know I like Matt James, so I'm like,
Same.
okay, I'm just gonna be here for Matt James.
love it.
So being in the ring with your peers, being one is Davienne, and now you're kind of on a panel. We're having a little bit of fun. We're having some laughs. We're talking wrestling. How do wrestlers balance such relationships? I find it very intriguing because you kick their ass and you get out the ring and then you kind of hug and you talk shop, if you will, and how it went and all that stuff. How do you guys balance that? How do you girls balance that stuff?
I mean, you totally touched upon a point of like, yeah, we do our thing in the ring, and as soon as we get back into the locker room, I'm like, okay, so how was everything? Did everything feel good? Like, what did I mess up? And like, I do it all the time with every match I have because I am still so green. Like, I've only been in the ring doing matches since October. So it's like every match I have, I'm pulling everyone aside. If like the triple threat, I was like, okay, guys, what was good? What was bad? What did I mess up? Like, always looking for like that feedback. And just like, I mean, in terms of like, the whole relationship of like in the ring versus out of the ring, I mean, the way I see it and the way I experience it is like, okay, yeah, what happens in the ring is in the ring, but then once we leave, like, it's just like, it's all a big family. So it's just like, all right, we pick up where we left off. We did our thing in the ring, gave me really stiff something or whatever. And then we get back to like, okay, that was cool. So.
Now, oh wait, I want to go. I'm sorry, I got a big long message. I apologize. Now, Karen BamBam, I interviewed last night a beautiful lady, talented lady, Jacqueline Sparks, out of the Rhode Island area, and she is not afraid to mix it up with the men. And not that any of you are, but I want to speak to you specifically because I see you at Test of Strength many a time. And you find yourself in these mix-up of like tag teams or intergender one-on-ones and stuff. Miss BamBam, you're not afraid to get into the ring with the men. Talk to us about the differences working with a woman and working with a male in the ring, how you have to think differently, if you could.
It's always fun for me. Like, I think it doesn't matter to me, but I feel like sometimes like the men are uncomfortable. Because it's like, they think, this delicate flower. And then I get in, I'm like, boom. And they like, okay, I can go now. Sometimes I got to snatch some sense into you. Because I'm rowdy. I like to get down. I like to really wrestle. I'm one of those people, I don't care. I'd rather you hit hard than hit soft. Like, let's go if we're going to go. But they'll get into it. That transition in the match is always so fun when they get comfortable. And they're like, okay, like, it's no different. But for me, it's fun because I'm a bigger girl. So it's very different. Like, more times than not, the men are going to be closer to my size than the women. So for me, it challenges me more because I can't just rely on the stuff I do with the girls. I can just throw you like it's nothing because I'm like 270. So it's like, now I can't pick up. So now I can really get crazy with the strikes and the spinning heel kicks and the drop kicks. So it's fun for me. I always enjoy it no matter who I'm with anyway.
It actually sounds you're a little bit more comfortable going against the guys and the ladies because you get to let loose a little bit more, no?
I guess too. And then some points in my training, I was the only girl that was training a lot of times because, there's always going to be more men in most places. So it's like, it's just another day for me, I guess. I wrestle with the men more than I do the women sometimes. So I guess that's true.
Now, Davienne, You've mentioned again some great promotions. I want to pick one out of the little Jenga puzzle, if you will. You talked Shimmer, and Shimmer is an all women's promotion. How much different is it going from a locker room where it's mostly male dominant, and then you get to a Shimmer and it's nothing but females? How is it quite different? Speak to us, the fans, because we wouldn't know anything like that.
It's very different. I think just like with the more popularity of all women's promotions, when I first started wrestling, the first all woman show I ever worked for was this place called Valkyrie Women's Wrestling. And it was run by Chris Levin, and it was awesome. Like it really bums me out that they're not still running. But I was like super nervous to go into an all girls locker room because it's just like girls, like they can be mean. Like girls can be mean.
Girls,
like, let's be real.
Oh,
They
no.
sure can.
Like they can be kind of nasty. So, and especially like going somewhere like Shimmer, it's like the cream of the crop of women's wrestlers, and it's like, holy crap, like, oh, and you feel like the new kid in school, you know. But everybody is super welcoming. Really, really great. I got to wrestle Saraya Knight.
She's amazing.
Just, like,
I want her to be my mom.
It was unbelievable. It was just like the greatest experience ever, and like everybody's very, very helpful. Like so many people have been very, very successful in wrestling, and like even like with my first time there, you know, got pulled aside, complimented on my gear, like got great match feedback. Like so, like everybody there is looking out for each other and not like looking like, oh, there's two new people that are taking a spot and like let's, you know, it's dog eat dog. Like everybody was very supportive. But I always feel like the little bit of fear going into a bigger locker room, and especially when it's all women, just because it's like there are limited spots for women no matter what, even in an all women's promotion.
Right.
So yeah, it's very nerve-wracking, but it was such a great experience.
Could you talk, because I talk to so many men and women, could you talk to the ladies that are trying to branch out, and especially like you said, one of the most major promotions, especially not just for the ladies, but in all of the industry. Could you talk to us about how do you get your foot in the door of a Shimmer? Do you have to reach out? Do you have to keep knocking time after time? Or how does that work out?
So I was very, very blessed with Shimmer to have been seen at Beyond Wrestling, myself and Skylar as a tag team, and women's tag teams are kind of popular right now, but there's not a lot. So me and Skylar, like we, from the first time we ever wrestled each other, we just gelled. Like she's like my person. So being in a tag, it like, and literally we're so stupid. We go to the same gear designers, like no, like so we already had matching gear. Like, and like the two of us, we like think on the same wavelengths. Like, it's so dumb. If you ever see us go out to dinner, we both go, so what looks good? And then we order the same thing. Like, and we don't even plan it. Like, we're the worst. It's disgusting to be in a room with them.
I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of
having the
cute.
same brain. So, we were very, very lucky to, you know, be seen with Beyond Wrestling and, you know, be offered an opportunity to work for Shimmer. Typically, if you want to get your foot in the door there, they have Rise seminars, and you know, you can go to Chicago. They have a great camp, and then you can stay for the whole weekend, and then like hopefully they like you and they'll put you on like a pre-show match or something, or like a scramble. And it's just a way to get seen. It's kind of just like the way wrestling is now, the kind of pay to play. But I see it as like an investment in yourself and your career. If it's something big and it's not, you know, like just like a waste, I guess. I don't know. Like, I can't think of an example of someone who would be like throwing money away. But that's just kind of like the way it is now. Like, you do the seminar or the tryout or whatever, and like, just fingers crossed, you do everything in your power to make yourself stand out for the limited spots that they're looking to fill.
Now, standing out, all of you ladies individually have your expressions going on, if you will. Isana, I'm gonna go right to you, my because I am telling you, the first time I ever saw Isana, she came out. She killed people. And not just people, it was guys in the ring. She came out and really took names and kicked ass. And I grasped onto her character from the very first time I saw her. But she's a sweetheart. But don't cross her because she'll F you up. So now I talked to a lady that's from your area, Jacqueline Sparks. I've never had the pleasure to talk to her. Have you had any run-ins? Because I did hear her. We talked just a little bit of Isana last night. So have you had any run-ins, and how did they kind of come out?
I actually, because Jacqueline Sparks actually runs with a company that runs out of the Chop Shop. I've wrestled her a couple times. She's got a good heart for it. She loves wrestling, so I definitely support that. Our matches have been all right. Definitely not maybe the best, but largely because that was when most of the times we wrestled, she was still brand spanking new and was still really feeling herself out a lot. And we haven't really wrestled since. I keep threatening her. I keep being like, oh, it's going to happen again. So one of these days we'll tangle again, and I'd love to see how much she's evolved because she's been working really hard. She's been wrestling mostly guys, which is, also a thing that I love doing. So I'd like to see, where she was to where she is now, and see what's changed with her because she's definitely put in a lot of work.
So how long ago was your last match with Miss Sparks?
It's definitely been at least a year. I want to say a year and a half. So I think it was mostly some of her first matches. We had a god awful triple threat. It was me, her, and this girl Mary Dawes, who I refuse to wrestle anymore. It was terrible match. But then we had a couple singles matches, and those were much better. In a way, it was tough because it was both one of Mary's first matches and one of Jacqueline's first matches, and it was a triple threat. And I was still relatively green too, so I couldn't really keep it together. So that triple threat, we just pretend that doesn't happen unless I have to come back with, what was the worst match you ever had? Well,
well, hey, in just 1 year's time, even if it's been 18 months or so, in 1 year's time, wrestlers evolve so much upstairs, physically, moveset, your gimmick, presentation, everything, the whole thing.
Everything
in 1 year's
changes
time,
in a year.
Everything can change so much in wrestling. But I do want to point out before I move on, you're with one of our very best friends, TJ Howell III, your blue shark back there. Now, for everybody that doesn't know, I interviewed Isana, and she had that beautiful little blue stuffed shark back there, but it was without a name. So we put a poll on Facebook, and the poll was the names were Jaws or TJ Howell III. How effing easy was that to pick TJ Howell III? Come on, that was a setup. That was a
I don't know,
softball.
knowing TJ, I would have picked Jaws.
So now I snuggle with TJ every night. My cat was snuggling with TJ for a while. I hope he's not allergic.
We're gonna have, just a random question. My first status after this interview will be, TJ Howell III, are you allergic to cats, my friend? And that's all I'm gonna say.
He's gonna be so confused.
Why?
Now, Joanna, you found yourself doing multiple hats, multiple positions, if you will, within the wrestling world. Why did you never get into the ring, if you will, to be a wrestler? Because you seem to have a very big passion for wrestling.
I
got her.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just figuring out, I've always had a huge passion for wrestling, but for whatever reason, I just never wanted to be a wrestler. It just wasn't something that I always wanted to be an announcer or a manager or, any of the billions of hats that I have. I also know my body well enough that, I have a very bad back. I have just a super bad back. I have scoliosis. It's not getting any better. It's probably getting worse as I'm sitting here. And I just know that because, you take a bump, just one bump on my back and I would be done. I've also had wrist surgery. I'm just not a very physically, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I like what I do. I like watching. I like being there for everybody. I like screaming at everybody. I kind of just like what I do. I mean, if somebody was like, "Hey, why don't you punch somebody for this?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm down for that." But that's like the limit that I do, you know. If I have to punch Dan, I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, because Test of Strength has given us those presents of a good whack across the face on a dandom man. Oh my God, I love that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Me too. I love that. But I don't want to like go in the ring and have an actual match. I just don't feel. I mean, I feel like I know people that I would be comfortable with getting in the ring with if I absolutely had to, but I'd rather just not. I like to support everybody and scream. I have always wanted to be a manager, though. I feel like I'd be really good at that.
That would be interesting.
Getting in the ring. Well, maybe getting in the ring. I don't know. But I just have never had the passion, which is a weird thing to say because I'm very passionate about wrestling.
You absolutely are. And again, without Joanna Robinson behind the scenes at some of these shows, some of the boys and girls would be very lost. I gotta say, just putting that out there. There's mending to be done. There's boo-boos to be fixed. There's merch to be sold. There's a lot of stuff going on, and Joanna helps out a lot. And you're one of those pieces of the puzzle, Ms. Robinson, that would be very missed if you were not behind the scenes. So, you know, wrestling. It takes a village. It takes an army, if you will. Come on. I mean, we know that. Now, Big Juicy, her character went from a heel originally, and then we were at a show one day, and a bunch of bikers in the back started really cheering her on, and the crowd reacted to that. So the fans kind of actually turned Big Juicy into a heel, and we love her as a heel. I would much rather see her as a heel, as a face. I'm sorry, as a face. I'm sorry. See, I'm not that bright. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I'm not a heel.
I know. See, I mix up my days. I mix up my words. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing here. So just bear with this roller coaster. And just like that, Big Juicy was a good girl, if you will. And then from that show on, she's been a face, and we love her. We love to bring her up and give her adulation. Big Juicy, talk to us about hearing those big guys in the back cheering you on and all of that stuff, and like, what the hell is going on? What do I do here?
Okay, so I was 100% thrown off. I'm in the middle of a match with Daje Simone. I'm working heat on her, and all of a sudden I hear Juicy, Juicy, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna worry about this now. I'm maybe like 3 matches under my belt at this point. I'm like, I don't have time to think about the crowd right now. I need to finish this match, not forget what we're doing, and bring it home and finish the match. So we get through it. Daje wins. We go back. The rest of the show happens, and I come out at the end, and the 3 biker guys come up to me, and they're like, "Oh, did you hear us? We were cheering for you." And I was like, "Oh, that was me?" I was like, "You were saying what?" They're like, "Juicy, Because I mean, like, again, it's no surprise. I'm a bigger girl, whatever. Like, own it. I don't care. And I was like, okay. So then slowly, as this little series and storyline developed with me and Daje at Shut Up and Wrestle, these 3 biker guys kept coming, and it just caught on. And then I dropped my original name and picked up Big Juicy because it wasn't broken, so I wasn't going to fix it.
And I hate to bring up bad memories, but the one thing that was broken that really set yourself apart as she's definitely a face now, and Daje is not a good girl anymore, was when she took this guitar and she whacked you over the back of the head. And man, that thing shattered. And that was the moment in time where we knew that Big Juicy, we were Team Juicy from there on out. Could you take us through that moment real quick, if you remember it much?
That was a wild ride. Wasn't always planned to be a headshot, I'll tell you that much. Until we're like 2 matches before, and Kevin Landry, my trainer, he sees Daje with a guitar, and he didn't know that we were doing this. So he saw the guitar. He's like, "What are you doing with that?" And she explained it to him. He goes, "Oh, no. You're not doing a back shot. That's got to be a headshot. No way. Absolutely not." I was like, okay. So then I was like, okay, any advice, Dad? Like, you gonna, how do I just, I built myself up. Okay, back shot, great. 2 seconds before it's our match, you're taking a headshot. So I was like, any advice? He's like, just check your head a little, and you'll be all right. I was like, okay, cool. So, we kept it to a headshot, finagled it a little bit because I wasn't gonna. Originally, it was supposed to be a headshot from behind, so I didn't know it was coming. And then we kind of, changed a little bit. But yeah, definitely, I was a little taken back. But live to tell the story. Here I am, not concussed, didn't get a concussion from it. The people that didn't know what was happening, they were definitely surprised. My mom
Surprise.
My mom was furious.
Oh
no! Because being 25 years old and wrestling, my mother still thinks that she has jurisdiction over what I will and won't do in the ring.
I'm 36 and my mother's still like, you're not getting in the ring, right? Like, I'm not getting in the ring, Mom.
Mama Juice was not so happy, but I talked her off the ledge and I was fine. So I just can't ever tell her when I take shots like that.
Surprise.
Yes.
Now, Miss Bam Bam, again, I've seen you many a time live. Would you get into the hardcore portion of wrestling? Have you ever been part of that, letting it a little bit loosey-goosey and trying to see where stuff goes? Or has it always been traditional wrestling in the ring with Bam Bam?
Oh, no, I haven't done a lot of it. Before you actually came to BWF, and last year, October, we actually had a street fight. Me and Anastasia Morningstar. It was actually the first women's main event there too. That's the only experience I have with it, but I would definitely love to do at least like one death match in my career. Like I'm with it, all of it, like fire, tubes, like just bring it.
Oh my God.
I would go for it at least once if you. I don't know after that.
One and done.
Yeah, because even after that street fight, like I didn't feel anything. Like we had the doors, the tacks, the chairs, everything. But like when I got home, like I just felt like my body like inflamed from that. I was like, oh my God. But it's still like exhilarating. Like I enjoy it. Like
Wow. I did not see any of that coming from Bam Bam. Holy cow, she wants the fire, the tubes, the whole nine. Holy cow, man. I did not do it. Wow. Miss Davienne, have you ever been in those situations where the hardcore, in that hardcore portion of the program?
Yeah, way too many.
Way too many.
Way too
Tell
many.
the story.
And most of the time, I don't know what's happening. I guess, like, okay, so in the very beginning of my career, I did a steel cage match. That was really bad. We did nothing with the cage because it was like so rickety. It was basically just like regular match with a cage around it. I was like, I'm not going on that thing. It fell off in intermission. No, not doing it.
No, thank you.
I did a last woman standing match. I did like a no DQ match. That was like the beginning of like my taste of hardcore wrestling. And then I was supposed to have a regular match where a girl threw a banquet hall chair at my face. 3 minutes and 16 seconds in. And I had to get 16 or 15 stitches in my face.
I remember that.
Yeah. Completely like head to toe drenched in blood. Like if I zoom in, you can still see the scar. It's like a C over my eye. Both of my eyes swelled shut, 2 black eyes. It was horrible. And I was like, oh my God, screw this. But most recently, in January, I did this match in Jersey for Bree combination wrestling, and nobody knew it was a hardcore match. And then they were like, yeah, so we left like, you know, like a table and a door under the ring. And then so we're like calling it, and they're like, okay, so like somebody needs to go through the door, and I was like the only option to go through the door. So I went
Oh
through
my
the door.
God.
Earlier in the match, though, like there was a trash can lid, and I kind of like wimped out on the first one and put my hand up, and then like I was selling, and I look up, and then the second hit was coming, and it was just trash can lid to the dome, and I was like, like completely unprotected, and then my head hit the door. So that was concussion like 1 of 4 in like the past 4 months. So quarantine has been really good for my health.
Oh man.
The next few concussions weren't from like a weapon. It was stupidity of like not putting my hand, like, so I got the concussion, and then we drove home, and I was like loopy, but I was like, I'm fine. And then me and Ava Everett wrestled the Main State Posse the next day at Blitzkrieg. Loved the match. I loved it. It was so great. Match. But I was like brain damaged. And
I remember that.
Oh my God, that's
was
right.
like, I'm gonna take the heat, and I was like, no, I'll do it. Why? I don't know. But they did this move. It's like I'm like a tabletop, and then they hit me with a senton, and for whatever reason, my arms just gave out too early, and I smacked my face.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
I wrestled basic Becca, and she gave me a Pele kick to the head that I had an egg on the side of my temple for like 3 weeks. Because I didn't put my hand up, and it was like an empty arena show, so you can just hear the echo of my skull being cracked. And then I wrestled Anthony Green, and he gave me this move. It's called he calls it Tamagotchi driver. And I literally wasn't worried about it at all. I was worried about his super dangerous like butterfly DDT, but I wasn't worried about this one at all. And I just ricocheted my skull off the mat, and I was just like, oh, there's number 4. Like
There it is.
So
Jesus.
not getting hit in the head has been like really great for me. But I'll probably do a death match at one point. DJ Hyde and I have talked about it, so I'm like, whatever. Light me on fire. It's fine.
Whatever.
What the hell is going on? We've got the ladies looking for fire and brimstone and light tubes and crazy. DJ Hyde, that's my holy crap. Isana, do you hear all of this talk? Have you ever been in these situations at all? And am I the only one who thinks these two are off of their damn gourds? Like, they're crazy.
Oh, yeah, I'm out of my mind. It's completely out of my mind. It's fine.
That's why we love you, Davey. I think I'm all set with light tubes and fire. I think I'll pass on that. My personal favorite is the household hardcore match. Where you use found objects in household. So I would be willing to take an iron to the head. That I'm not afraid of. My ultimate goal is to suplex someone through an ironing board. I really want to do that. I did suplex someone. I had one household hardcore match where I suplexed someone that we had like one of the mini ironing boards, the ones that are like maybe 2 or 3 feet long, and I had that wedged in the buckle, and I suplexed the person into the buckle and through the ironing board. But I want to suplex someone through a full-size ironing board sometime. I think that would be awesome. I've also had a Falls Count Anywhere match at a gymnastics studio, which was one of my favorite matches I've ever had in my life. So we at one point were fencing with pool noodles, which was awesome. And then using all the different gymnastics equipment, you know, the parallel bars, the uneven bars, I gave a fisherman suplex onto a trampoline and we both went flying. We ended up culminating that whole feud in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. John Cena Sr. was actually the reason for that, because he was like, oh, you guys should have a ladder match. And they were like, well, we don't have anything to have a ladder match for, so let's just turn it into a hardcore match. So I've gone through a table. That was actually not that bad. It was really not. It was a very rickety table. I was afraid it was going to break just as soon as I touched it. So it really didn't put up much of a fight. Yeah, the worst part was probably the chairs. I was scared to kill because I was wrestling Amanda Fox, who'd already had a lot of head trauma at the time, and she had a really bad back at that point. She was like wrapping up her career. It was one of her last matches. Actually, it was her last match at House of Bricks because I was supposed to win that match, and she like couldn't handle that. So we ended up flipping the script, and I put her over. And then she was fired for that. So that was awkward, but it was a really fun match. So I've done my fair share. I've had cheese graters to the face. That was an interesting experience. I didn't bleed much, but I had like little spots all over my head. But I'm not necessarily afraid to bleed so much. I'm just not a big fan of the idea of being set on fire. I think I'll pass on that.
Well,
God.
I'll go on. Yeah, I agree with you there. Setting on fire, no bueno. Not down for that.
I gotta
on
send
that
that
one.
mom bag for you girls. Jesus, with all that medical stuff.
Now, Big Juicy, you've been in the ring with Davienne. Do I say that wrong? Davienne. Do I say that wrong? I'm curious.
Davienne, you got it.
Okay.
If Davienne's here, I'll respond. I'll respond to literally anything.
Hey
Oh.
you.
Hey you.
Hey you with the nice hair.
You
Yeah.
stupid piece of garbage. I'll be like, yeah.
Because I have always pronounced it as Davienne, and I don't know. I feel that it's wrong, but hey, she says it's right. It's right. So, Big Juicy, you've been in the ring with Davienne. You've obviously know Joanna Robinson. We've talked to, tried to do the meeting thing. Who would you imagine? Let's just put a hypothetical match together right now. We're talking Big Juicy. We're talking Karen BamBam. We're talking Isana. Maybe in a possible triple threat. It could be TOS. It could be Kevin Landry's. It could be Chop Shop. It could be X. We don't know where it could be. If anybody that books matches, please, oh please, dear God, make that match happen. Big Juicy, would you be able
a
to
hard-hitting match?
Oh my God.
Well, what?
Would
I
you
think
be
it would make a great four-way, just
would you be
saying.
up
God,
to
it's
like a
a
triple
four-way.
threat match like that?
No,
Kill each other.
four-way. Four-way.
Oh,
Four.
all of us.
Four-way.
3, 4, all of us. Yeah, why not? I mean, we're all crazy as shit. Why not? Throw us all in the ring together. See what
Well,
happens.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, like, you know how many times people look at me and they're like, "You made it 25 years of your life without wrestling. What made you want to do it now?" And I'm like, "Oh, just, why not? Better late than never."
I started
us all
at
in the
24, so.
Yep. I started at 25.
Now I know that I've interviewed almost all of you, but I also have this friend of mine, and I have to put him over a little bit because maybe you guys can, you girls, I keep saying guys, I apologize. Maybe you girls can maybe connect with this young man. He's 16 years old. His name, we call him on the Roundtable, the Future. His name is Donovan. And this kid is so much fun. And what he usually does is, at post events of WMW and PvP, he goes behind the scene, waits for the fans to kind of file out and what have you, and he'll do little post interviews. Well, now he's taking it a step further, and he does the Skype interviews. Now, I know some of you are familiar with Donovan, but for those that aren't familiar with Donovan, I'm going to maybe put your names into his ear hole, if that's okay, to maybe sit with Donovan and do a Skype interview. Look at Karen BamBam smile. Have you heard of Donovan at all?
I have not, but just the phrase "put it in his ear hole" just made me giggle.
Yeah, like.
Now, this kid is he acts professional. He's very courteous. He doesn't ask the same exact general questions, and he likes to have fun, and he's got a cute damn smile. I love that kid to death. So if you do get a reach out, if you will, a message from a kid named Donovan, be nice to the kid because he's a really good dude. Even if you don't want to sit down, just be nice to him for me. But I'm going to throw out all of your names to Donovan because he would be excited. He loves the ladies. And I'm not saying, because you're out of his age range, I'm sure he's going to tell you he's single. Just putting that out there.
I did an interview with him Thursday. He is a very nice kid, and he asked some good questions, so I'll vouch for him.
Since we're talking, Donovan, you've been interviewed, and I know Big Juicy has as well. Joanna, why don't you talk just a tiny little smidge of how your interview went with Donovan? How did that go?
It went okay. Well, I mean, we did have one hiccup where I thought we were supposed to meet at 5, so I'm sitting there waiting for him and didn't hear anything from him. And I start messaging Don and everybody that knew him, being like, where is this kid? Did I get stood up during quarantine? Like, really? And it turned out that his phone had died, and he also thought that it was at 6 o'clock. So we were able to reconnect and meet a little later. And we sat down, and he was very apologetic, but he was very sweet about it. We had a really nice time, actually. I wasn't sure what I was going to be talking about. And we talked about just kind of everything. And I really enjoyed it. He's a really nice kid.
Thanks. Now, Karen BamBam, I started these stirring the pots because I didn't feel that there was anybody in my area that was asking the smaller places, if you will, to test the strengths, the PAPWs and the PVPs and such. And some of those men and women weren't getting their time to shine or be able to tell their story in an interview because a lot of the smaller places or the smaller talent, if you will, and I hate to use that word, but that's what it kind of is. But they go for the bigger names. I like to go for the upcoming names, the ones that have been maybe in the game a little bit that we haven't heard of for very long, or even the ones that have been in for a little bit that never really got their story out. In your area specifically, because you're in the NYC area, are there any kind of outlets for interviews like this, or is it just kind of, I'm not familiar with the scene out there, if you will.
Yeah, there's a few. I know there's like a Turnbuckle tabloid, so they're on Spotify. I'm doing one as well with Tiffany Ann on Tuesday. But I'm like super dumb, so I'm like, I don't want to get the name of it wrong. I believe it's like Under the Ropes as well. So the graphic's gonna come out soon. There's a lot of little things here. It's kind of hard to run in New York because of the commission, so it's not as bustling as it should be because it's just like a pain in the ass to run shows. But hopefully things change soon. I know people are talking about, trying to figure out how to get,
revolution,
behind the regulations,
revolution.
Like
I've done a couple shows in New York, and the commission is so brutal out there. It's awful.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Isana, why don't you, since you've had that experience, talk to us about the differences to us, the fans that wouldn't know that.
So I've done, actually thanks to Davienne, I did Warriors of Wrestling a couple times, and I've seen some of the struggles that they've had out there with, especially I'm in a unique position because my day job, I work for the state of Rhode Island. I regulate medical marijuana, but I also work in the same building as our athletic commission. So like when it comes time for them to write the regulations on wrestling, they were actually like, they were in my ear being like, hey, Liz, how can we do this? Mm-hmm. Because they wanted to be able, because at least in Rhode Island, they only really care about the big names, like when WWE comes to town, big time wrestling. They're the only ones that they really care about. They don't really want to have to bother with the small independent companies like RWA, XWA, stuff like that. Whereas the athletic commission in New York, it's like you have to have a doctor, you have to have an EMT, you have to have police, you have to have guardrails, you have to have all these different things. You have to pay a fee, and it's so expensive. Like I can imagine that New York would be just riddled with places if it wasn't for this. And I'm sure there's plenty of underground wrestling too that no one knows about officially. But it's like, and it's heartbreaking because New York could be such a hotbed of wrestling, just like New England is, where there's just tons of wrestling, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, depending on your opinion. But I mean, I feel like New York just doesn't have a chance, and I definitely would love to see them deregulate independent wrestling and kind of do it the same way that Rhode Island does, where it's like, you know, unless you're a big fish that's going to be bringing in big bucks, we don't really care about you.
That's unfortunate. I hope maybe, you know, down the road there could be changes, because everybody loves to get their wrestle on, you know, fans, wrestlers, and, you know, be able to expand to more places that would actually probably pop up with less regulations, you know. Now, Davienne, I'd like to ask you, because you've been to quite a many promotion. My curiosity has always got me about fan bases. Now, when you're in Massachusetts, when you go to, we'll just bounce, you know, go to Rhode Island, or you go to other places and other promotions, do you find that the fan base either reacts differently, chants differently, the big pop or the heat? Do you find fan bases are different from state to state or promotion to promotion at all?
Definitely, like promotion to promotion, fan bases are very different. Like when I do matches, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, this match would be like great for Beyond Wrestling. This would be the kind of match that we have at Beyond. This is the kind of match we're gonna have at like Chaotic. You know, like they respond differently. So it kind of just like depends on the kind of wrestling that they want to see. Do they want to see like ultra spotty? Do they want to see comedy? Do they want to see just like a regular match? So you just kind of have to gauge it. Like if it's an audience of like little kids, like you're gonna do something to like, you know, accommodate little kids. So it all just kind of depends on like the promotion, I think, instead of, I mean, maybe state to state too. Like when you're like in the backwoods of Pennsylvania, yeah, it's pretty bizarre. But I think like as far as like New England, their fan bases are kind of like the same, but like depending on the promotion, they'll react differently.
Now, the very first time I ever saw Davienne was some years back, probably about 3-ish, I want to say. I'm not sure on that time. That's probably right. You were actually, if I'm not mistaken, Chaotic Women's Champion. And I've only been to one Chaotic show because it's a little haul for me. It's a lot of haul for me, actually. But at that specific show, you weren't working, but you came out pissed off because you weren't working. And JT Dunn was in a cage match for the title against the champion at that time. And I don't know if I'm saying this right at all. Markopoulos? I don't know how to say it.
Oh, did he wrestle Ilya in a cage match? Ilya Markopoulos?
Markopoulos, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought he wrestled Chase in the cage.
And you came out and you had the strap on, and you were telling the general manager, I forget his name, Johnny
Vegas.
Johnny Vegas, and you were giving him shit. And my dad goes, "Who's that?" And I go, I don't know, man, but I'm not going to go piss her off or ask her any questions right now, because she's got a lot of heat flaring right now. But I believe that's the very first time I ever seen you. That was a few years ago. And then I've seen you, you know, at the PvP and the WMW, and I believe Blitzkrieg a couple times. But before I do let you ladies go, I would like to kind of go around, and I know Big Juicy, you're newer in the game. So right now you don't have any titles currently around that waist of yours, but
Not
is
yet.
there any titles? Exactly. Are there any titles that you might have really in your vision that you'd like to go after when we come back from this whole, you know, canola thing? Canola virus. Canola virus.
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to answer some open challenges and be in some matches that are surrounding the PvP women's title. So that would be certainly interesting and really cool if that ever came to fruition. But honestly, I don't have any specific things set in mind. Like I said, I'm just here for the ride, all about the opportunities. Like whatever comes. Like I take it all day by day, match by match, you know. And I just got to get out there more. So the more that I can get out there and get the opportunity and the exposure, maybe I'll have more ideas on those things. But for right now, I just want to get out there.
Well, for the rest of the ladies that are on the panel, I don't know if you, again, I don't know if you follow Big Juicy at all, but she's keeping herself relevant. She's always out there on Saturday afternoons, 3 p.m. doing the juice bar. I think that's so damn cute. It's called the juice bar. She hangs out with the fans, little Q&A. We talk wrestling, we talk life, we talk movies, we talk animals, we talk getting a wellness check on Kulik's dogs. We talk whatever we want to talk in the juice bar. It's a lot of fun. So for you that are watching that never heard of the juice bar, go follow Big Juicy, literally Big Juicy, 2 words, put them together. You're going to see Big Juicy's cute little face there. And at 3 p.m. on Saturdays, she's keeping herself relevant by hanging out with us, the fans. So go check that stuff out, man. Now, Karen BamBam, are you a current champion of any company right now?
Yes, I am the Victory Pro Wrestling Women's Champion right now. And before this started, I was supposed to be challenging at least for Bronx Wrestling Federation and Intense Wrestling Alliance. So we'll see what happens with that when we come back, hopefully next month.
Okay. Anything in Bam Bam's sights that she really, a piece of gold, specifically in a promotion that she has her eyes on it all, or just give me all the gold.
Look, I'll take it all. I'm just trying to go, especially sitting in this house. I'm trying to fill my calendar back up. I want to get back to my Outlaw, WSU, all of that.
Now, Joanna Robinson, do you have any title? I mean, sorry, wrong question.
Do you have any titles?
What kind of titles are we talking about? Talking the ones you wear around the waist or the ones that people call me?
All of the above.
Actually, it's a title-related question.
Oh.
How much more can you add to your plate? You wear many a hat, as we've already spoken. Are you going to be taking on any more titles, or is 13,000 enough for when we get back?
Oh, no, I need at least 14,000. I like to make things
14.
an even number. I like an even number. As far as I know, I don't. I mean, it's more so of like, I show up, and then, hey, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. All right, cool. We need you to go get props for hardcore matches. All right, cool. Which has actually happened before.
Really?
Ladies, yes, before a match. They're like, go to the dollar store and just grab things for a hardcore match. And I'm like, all right, cool. Make sure you get a lot of likes. Okay.
So, when one goes shopping for a hardcore match, what do we pick up at the store? I mean, tell us.
Sometimes a cheese grater. I've gotten rolling pins. Legos are always on the list. I don't know. Sometimes there'll be fun seasonal stuff that I'll grab. I mean, it's just whatever looks like it's gonna hurt. One time I grabbed a belt, and it didn't get used for the match, but it was under the ring. And as we were cleaning up afterwards, one of the guys was like, "Wow, this is a really nice belt." And he put it on. He's like, "Oh, and it fits." And I'm like, "It's." Really I'm glad it got a good cause. It went to a good cause. I mean, you just grab stuff that looks like it's gonna be fun and that it's gonna hurt. Not necessarily hurt, but like it looks like it's going to hurt. And unless somebody, I have, like I said, like sometimes they're like, we specifically want one of these and one of these, and I'm like, all right, let's see when I'll grab one.
Isana, are you currently a champion of any promotions right now?
I'm actually currently a promotion of two champions.
Yes.
I currently hold the Outlaw Championship Wrestling Women's title. I won that off of Christina Marie, and then I'm also the RWA Hype Champion right now. And I actually just did a skit this morning about it because I ate my Wheaties this morning, so I had my belt on because it's the Breakfast of Champions.
Breakfast of Champions. I love that stuff.
And I'm also the legacy holder of the House of Bricks Women's Championship. So.
Ooh. Wow. I did have the promoter on here. Freight Train. I almost want to call him Train Wreck for some reason. I don't know why.
That's a different one. And Tommy doesn't wrestle anymore.
I'd have Freight Train on here, and we've spoke about maybe getting Isana and Christina Marie because there's unfinished business, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah,
correct?
yeah. No, it was a really fun match to have, even though there was blood everywhere because we haven't quite figured out what happened. But Christina Marie's finger got gouged wide open, possibly on me, possibly on the ring. We're not sure, but there was blood everywhere, and I spent the entire match going, "Where is this blood coming from?" I wasn't sure if it was coming from me. Then we finally established it was coming from her, but we weren't sure from where. So it was quite an interesting match, but it was a good match, and I really enjoy working with her. I have a lot of fun whenever we're in the ring together. So because she's one of the few people, she doesn't look like she can pick me up and throw me, but she really, really can because she's just that strong. She's like this tiny little thing that lifts 400 pounds like it's nothing. So like it's really exhilarating to be able to be like, and then I'll suplex you. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense.
Davienne, to finish this whole thing off, are you a current champion of any of promotions out there?
I am. I am the current WSU Spirit Champion and one half of the Chaotic Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
The better half.
Well, I mean, let's be real. There was a reason only my name was chanted when we won, so.
I try to keep my eyes open and see what the hell's going on out there. You're telling me you're one half of the Chaotic Tag Team Champions?
I am. I'm the first woman to hold a male title in Chaotic Wrestling.
Who is your tag partner?
JT Dunn. I like to call him J Tizzle.
J Tizzle.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Now,
so good.
Wow, who did? I can't breathe. Who the hell did you guys beat to become champions?
We beat Killanova Inc., Trigger the OG, and Royce Bishop.
Yeah.
Good. Screw them. Screw Killer Inc. I love that. That's awesome. Oh God, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad you said that. That's amazing. Oh man, that brings a lot of joy to my life. Oh, that's fantastic.
Sounds like, all right, interview's over. I'm good now.
Oh yeah, man. I just ended on a high note right there. That was beautiful. That made my life all much better.
Like quarantine.
You ladies.
I don't care.
Yeah. No mask, no gloves. I'm out of here. I mean, sorry. I didn't mean that. You ladies have been an absolute delight today. I cannot thank you so much for hanging out. Again, you know what my silliness? I can't talk for shit. I don't know what day it is. I don't know who's champion when or what the hell I seen David. I don't know. Yeah, I may be wrong on that too. Yeah, I don't even know. But you guys are. See, I did it again. You girls have been absolutely fabulous, and I thank each and every one of you for not only spending the time with us, but we talked for a little bit over an hour. I thought I was only going to get like 17 minutes, and you guys are really like, Kincaid, get the fuck out of here. So again, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.
I think that's what's so nice about wrestling is we all just like click.
We just mesh.
Yeah, and you know, now that I've done this, we might have some more down the road. But not only that, Tuesday afternoon, I have a promoters roundtable, and we're getting 4 or 5 promoters from the area, and we're going to get them to hang out and chit chat like we're doing. Who the hell does that? That's kind of an unheard thing of getting the promoters together. So that's going to be an interesting Tuesday afternoon, I have to say.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So. Yeah.
That can go either really, really well or really, really poorly.
Agreed.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely. So my fingers are crossed for my own safety and my life because I don't know what the hell is going to come out of this whole thing. Like you said,
praying for you, Don.
yes, please, thank you. On Monday evening, just give a quick shout out to the big man upstairs. Look out for that poor little skinny guy because he's got himself in a world of shit coming up on Tuesday. Don't use those exact words. He doesn't like those words up there. Davienne, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. You've been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Isana. And not only Isana, but TJ Oliver third. That's amazing. I love that. Thank you so much to both of you for coming in and spending time with us.
You're welcome. This is really fun.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Karen BamBam. And on the back, I don't know if you can read it. It says Chocolate Thunder. I love the Chocolate Thunder tag. I think that's amazing. Karen BamBam, thank you for spending the time with us today. You've been awesome.
Oh, always keep it real. It's always fun. Thank you for having me.
I love that. Oh my God, that tickles me so much. I love that. Joanna Robinson, thank you so much. And I know it was kind of unexpected. I'm glad I put the post out last night because thank you so much for spending the time hanging out with the ladies. We had a good time, I think.
Yeah, no, that's always fun to chat shit with you, Dawn. And it's nice to see some of these ladies too. I miss you.
Yeah, it was really nice to see everybody. Seeing everybody every weekend is like really weird. So
it is really
so
weird. So I was getting a chance to do these. It's like I'm like, okay, who am I gonna get to see this week? No one.
That's what I miss most about wrestling is not seeing everyone in the locker room. It feels so weird. Although I am kind of grateful that I don't have to go around and do that awkward, like, have I met you before? I'm not sure.
Right.
What's going to be so great is you're never going to have to introduce yourself to anybody when we come back. So nobody's going to touch.
Yes. Yes. I'm just going to wave at people and be like, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Right. And then you can just hug your friends and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Hi, nice to meet you. We're friends on Facebook. Awesome. Nice to meet you in person then.
Every time.
Sorry, it's the CTE. Sorry.
Yeah.
Blame it on CTE. It's fine. It's fine.
Nice to meet you. I saw you last weekend. Shit.
Big Juicy, I got to give you a big, giant, huge thanks for getting this together because without your help, this would have never happened. I mean, I could have reached out, maybe could have possibly pulled it off, but with the help of Big Juicy, we got this together lickety split. We got some fine ladies together. We had a fantastic time. So Big Juicy, thank you so much.
No problem, Dawn. Anytime. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Big Juicy.
Thank you. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Anytime.
I hope down the road, if any of the other ladies around the area that actually watch this, maybe get a little taste of what's going on, and maybe we can get more of this going on and get some more. And Women's Roundtable, I love this. This was an absolute blast. You guys were fantastic and very informative too. That was another big thing, giving us some information that we didn't know. I love that kind of stuff and getting to know a little bit more about your characters, yourselves, the whole 9 yards. And absolutely lovely. I could ramble for another hour, which I know you girls don't want. So this is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid. And my very special guests, I love doing that, guests. We have Davienne, we have Isana, we have Karen BamBam, we have Joanna Robinson, and we have the Juices Loose, Big Juicy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dawn.